You know it's better, that's on the side. Another one over there. This one? Yeah, no, this one's so I don't know, this was her key, I don't know. But listen, listen, listen to my heart song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. I will never forget you, I will never forsake you, I will never forget you, I will never forsake you. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. I will never forget you, I will never forsake you, I will never forget you, I will never forsake you. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. I will never forget you, I will never forsake you, I will never forget you, I will never forsake you. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. I will never forget you, I will never forsake you, I will never forget you, I will never forsake you. We'll keep doing it a few hundred times and everybody finally will get it. Some people say, well, I know it, I just don't feel like singing at the moment. The nice thing about doing this in a group thing like this, you can always fake it. Just sort of move your lips a little bit. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. I will never forget you, I will never forsake you, I will never forget you, I will never forsake you. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. I will never forget you, I will never forsake you, I will never forget you, I will never forsake you. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. I will never forget you, I will never forsake you, I will never forget you, I will never forsake you. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. I will never forget you, I will never forsake you, I will never forget you, I will never forsake you, I will never forget you, I will never forsake you, I will never forget you, I will never forsake you, I will never forget you, I will never forsake you, I will never forget you, I will never forsake you, I will never forget you, I will never forsake you, I will never forget you, I will never forsake you, I will never forget you, I will never forsake you, I will never forget you, I will never forsake you, I will never forget you, I will never forsake you. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart song. I will never forget you, I will never forsake you, I will never forget you, I will never forsake you. Oh, this one. From you I receive, to you I together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From I am the great sun, but you do not see me. I am your husband, but you turn away. I am the captive, but you do not free me. I am the captain, you will not obey. I am the truth, you do not believe me. I am that city where you will not stay. I am your wife, your child, but you will leave me. I am that God too, you will not pray. I am your counsel, but you do not hear me. I am your lover, you will betray. I am the victor, but you do not cheer me. I am the holy dove, whom you will slay. I am your life, but if you will not name me, seal up your soul with tears and never blame me. I mentioned our friend Candy was going to be here and sing a couple of songs, but anyway, I did it by myself. Next time we'll have it. But anyway, once upon a time, there was this old. By the way, it always feels nice right here, especially to see some of the familiar faces and friends who, for some reason, even if they might get a little tired of me, and they're about to hear a story probably heard a few times before, but anyway, it makes it feel like home to me, so it's kind of nice. One fun thing that I have is I can go around to all these different places and never leave home. And people see me and they say, "Oh, when did you get back?" Like you've been away for quite a while this time. And there are a few places like that now. And it makes it kind of... That's actually a really kind of a profound idea if you think about it. I didn't necessarily mean it that way, but maybe for you. But I mean, just think about being able to travel so many places and never feel that you are away from home. No matter where you go, you're always home. But anyway, once upon a time, there was this old man who was walking along this mountain path. By the way, once upon a time, what does that part mean? Did you ever listen when you were a kid and they told you stories, your parents, they said once upon a time, did you have any idea what once upon a time meant? And to me it kind of meant like story. Once upon a time, you know what it sort of means? It means, and we have this also to begin our stories, once long, long ago. Did you ever hear a story begin like that? Once long, long ago. Or long ago in days of yore, whatever yore is. You probably studied yore in your school. All the stories, everything that's supposed to be interesting is once upon a time, long, long ago. It's almost as if every single thing that our forebears, that our predecessors thought significant enough or interesting enough to record down in our history books happened in the past. Think about it. One friend said to me one time, said, I like history, it's one of my best favorite courses because so many things happened in it. But anyway, this happened in the past. I learned this particular story in Korean. It goes, 노인 한 사람 깊은 산에 걸어 다니면서 사람 살유, 사람 살유. Do you understand it that way? But see, it means long, long ago. It means in days of yore, probably actually. But in ancient times, and you know, people can say this now and they think, well, it's fictional. You know, people talk to the animals and the animals talk to the people, but we don't know. I mean, this was in ancient times. Maybe it was so. But one old man, 깊은 산이 in the deep, deep mountain forest, 걸어다니면서 while walking along this path, he heard this sound. Can you just see him, this old man with the Korean style, the long white beard and the horsehair black hat that went in the white, they always wore, you know, white clothes, and he was kind of a nobleman. He was an elderly man. He was walking along this path, and he heard, Saram Salyu, Saram Salyu, which means literally, someone save, a person save, which we would say in our language, help! Although it was kind of a weak help. And as he walked along the path, he got closer to where the sound came from. Now, I told you, some of you may, if you've heard this before, and you already know the story, well, here it comes again. But he got closer and closer to the sound as he walked along, and finally it was a little ways sort of like off the path, and he had to leave the trail. When one hears this, help, help, one is pulled toward that. Something in us responds, right? When there is some need for us, or it used to in ancient times. These days there's too much. We can't, you know. So there are other resistances maybe that we put up, which may be part of our talk. But this is in days of yore. And so naturally he went, tried to go in the direction that this help was coming from, and he had to leave the trail and sort of make his way up the side of this hill. And then there was another kind of path up pretty close to the top that he went along, and indeed he was getting closer and closer, and the help was sounding not less weak, but closer. And so he approached this sound, help, and he came upon the edge of this pit, at the bottom of which there was a tiger going to and fro. It couldn't get out. It was trapped in there. And it was calling for help. And the sides of this pit, either by chance or design, you see, there was a trap into which the tiger had fallen. And it was like a square hole. The sides were too sheer. He couldn't, you know, if he'd scrape on the sides, he'd just pull dirt in. There wasn't any way to get a running jump because it was too small. So he was literally trapped and couldn't get out on his own. And he was going back and forth, and he was saying, help, help, help. And the old man looked down, he says, I've come, let's away, there must be something. And the tiger looked up at him, you know, I'm sorry. And he said, if you'll just be, there must be, and looking over in the distance and seeing a tree, a branch of which had broken and fallen on the ground. That you'll just, if I can only, it's a big sort of limb of, and I'm an old man and play, yes, you needn't say help, we'll do what we can if I can just, yes, and if I can drag this over and now let me see, place it down, perhaps you can, and he got this limb of tree down in this pit and the tiger crawled up on this limb and went, which is the way the tigers go grr. In Korea, they don't say grr. They say hururum. It's always fun, when you go to another country or learn another language to ask people, what does a dog say and what does a cat say and what does the dogs, how dogs bark in Korea? They go mong, mong, mong. It's, we transliterate M-O-N-G, mong, mong. That's a dog's bark. And the little chickens go piak, piak, piak. And so everything has its sound, but everything has its sound. Even the airplanes go wall, wall, wall as they fly along. Everything says something. And the tiger goes hururum. It's fairly realistic. Oh, it's fun. You know what a sneeze is in Korean? Chichigi. Oh, we could go through a number of bodily sounds. But the tiger, you see, here's this man. Now, get on the scene here. Here's this man, old man, and he was pulled toward this, and he put this, and this tiger runs out and goes, hurrung, and makes a grab for the man, and the man dodges, can't feel, what in the world is going on? I just saved your life. And the tiger just is trying to grab him. I'm going to eat you. What, you fool? You get it, one does not eat one, and then he thought better of, the use of that, the fool, that wasn't a particularly good strategy at this moment. So he said something like, an honorable one, such as yourself, must know that one does not eat one who has just saved one's life. They said, the tiger was hungry, but not altogether out of his mind, and he said, logic tells me that my life is not saved until I have eaten. I'm merely starved, you see. But, said the man, it's not the honorable, you'll be the laughingstock of the forest. I've saved your life and you eat me. If this gets around, think of your reputation. And of course the tiger was about ready to think, well, who's going to tell if I eat you see. But fortunately he was pretty weak from going around in that pit and had a headache and was a little dizzy. And the man was able to dodge enough and to speak enough and to keep himself enough in spite of his sort of fear under control to convince the tiger that the tiger was indeed a beast of principle and should really, learn whether or not this is really totally out of line to eat one who has saved one's life. So what the man suggested is we should seek the opinion of others. And they agreed that they would find 3 others here in the forest. And they'd go with the majority rules, 2 out of 3 or whatever. The tiger felt this is going to go in his favor. After all, there are all these colleagues up there. So they started out walking along this path, this old man and this tiger, to find out whether the tiger should or shouldn't eat the man. And who did they see first coming down the side of the mountain but the pig? So they have all these animals and they all have their characteristics. In the old Korean stories, guess who's the wise one, or usually the hero, or the one that comes up with the rabbit, the mountain rabbit, Santoki. San means mountain, right? You all know that word, san. Santoki is the wild rabbit, the mountain rabbit. And the pig is a twigi. And they saw this pig coming down, and the pig was approaching them, and they both ran up to the pig and said, we need your opinion, we need your advice. And the tiger said, I'm starving to death, and he won't let me eat, and how can I live if I don't? And he's trying to say, and the man, one doesn't eat one who saves one's life, and how can you say, but I'm so hungry and I'm about to starve. And the pig says, wait, you're both talking at the same time. I have no idea really what you're trying to have my opinion on, except all I know is there's hunger involved here because I heard the word. And I'm quite familiar with hunger and the process of eating. And I have always said when one is hungry, one eats. And eat, that's what it's all about. So whoever's hungry, why, go ahead and eat. I don't see what the problem is. And he kept saying, eat, and going on down the trail. Well, it didn't look too good for the old man. The tiger goes hooroo-room once again, and wait, the man says, and a little more dodging and darting. And it convinced him, you agreed, so 3, and that's only 1. So they went along a little bit farther, and the next one to cross their path was a fox. And the fox, you see, you know how foxes are, and they both ran up to the fox, and the fox really got a big kick out of this whole thing, and he finally stopped them both, and he said, I don't know exactly what the issue is, he says, but it's a very intriguing thing. If I had time, I'd stay and watch the end of it. Clearly, this is a situation in which each of you is trying to outfox the other, and I love it. And may the best fox, may I say, win. And he went on down the trail, laughing. It was hard to tell, really, whether that was one in favor of the man or in favor of the tiger. But the tiger thought, well, may the best whatever win, and clearly I can win if I want to, so hooroo-room once again, and he makes a grab for the man, and the man once again convinced to get the third opinion. But it was looking pretty horrible for this man, and he was beginning to regret that he'd gotten himself on this path and involved in this whole issue in the first place. And so as they went on their way, he's saying to himself, it's not going to, these are all animals here, and they're all, into eating, and they're all, but with my luck, we'll meet another tiger anyway. They didn't see anybody. And they walked along really for quite a distance before, you see, under this tree, up above them, they saw, guess who? Santoki. Yeah. Sitting under the tree, wiggling its nose, as rabbits are to do. And they both went rushing up there to this rabbit and telling their story at the same time. And the man kept coming, but one doesn't eat one who saves one's life. And I was trying. And the rabbit says, I get snatches of what you're telling, but I really don't know. Give me a clear picture of the situation here. Now, he says, I seem to have heard something about this pit. Was it this very self-same pit which sits before us now, and cocking his head and pointing his ear a ways down the hill? That was the very pit in which the tiger had been trapped. They'd come full circle around this mountain. And the tiger went hopping down and stuck his nose in the pit. The rabbit, Santoki, and the tiger and the man came down and looked down too. And the rabbit looked at the tiger and says, "You fool, how could you be trapped with a branch of a tree in there like that?" And the tiger said, "The branch wasn't in there." "Well, who put it in?" "Well, the man put it in." And he says, "Well, couldn't you?" He said, "What were you, too weak to climb out or whatever?" And the tiger says, "No, I was down in the pit and the branch was," and the rabbit says, "Well, where were you?" And the tiger says, "I was down here." And he gets down the pit, and the rabbit says, "Well, then where was the branch?" And the man pulls the branch out and puts it back. He says, "Well, it's over here by the tree." And then he turns around and sees, and he realizes what. And he walks up and he looks. The tiger's down in the pit, and the rabbit's wiggling his nose and looking down there, between the tiger and the man, and the tiger and the man. And he says to the man, "The choice is yours. But don't feel too righteous about this. All anybody can be is whoever they are. But here you are in this situation now, you kind of have a sense of what we're all like. But don't feel self-righteous, but feel, perhaps I should say, fortunate. You're lucky, if I may say so, and I may also say so. Because it is not that often in the course of events, in the course of, the eternity of one's lifetime, that one comes round about to find oneself upon the brink of an experience that one has already been through and therefore need not experience again. And that was the story. That particular, of all the Santoki stories and all the different animals and so on. That thing interested me because that philosophical idea, of coming round to find oneself upon the brink of a potential, a possibility, a circumstance, a situation, an issue that one has already experienced and therefore need not experience again. Well, anyway, my proposition here is that we find ourselves in some pretty outrageously horrible, scary, ominous circumstances on this planet today, for which those of us who are sitting here and the likes of us who are sitting here have the solutions, and nobody else, because all anybody is doing is being who they are, and nothing can be expected of anyone other than for them to play out whatever their karma is or their place in their own evolution. But the solutions are there, and I do have the feeling that what we may be about to experience, earlier I said when some of us weren't here yet, it's not ominous at all to say everything's falling apart. It's quite different from saying everything has already fallen apart, or it's too late, or it fell apart, or it's inevitably going to fall apart. So here we are on the brink of a situation that looks pretty ominous, except for the fact that the solutions are within us. We don't really need, there is no need in terms of logic or in terms of even the laws of probability or the statistics of what looks like it's going to happen, or any degree of how hard it is to expect that this or that could be any different. There's no reason, no excuse for some of the ominous issues to continue on the path that they are now, other than the fact that so far, with regard to the solutions to our problems, we have not yet tried. We have not yet put ourselves upon the task of solution. We've done some good things. I'm not saying they're bad, but so far what we've been able to do a lot of is oppose, complain, protest, and object. But in terms of making real changes, we haven't yet begun, and yet the solutions are within us because we already know all that needs to be known in order to solve the issues that confront us now. In the commencement of some of our workshops and seminars, we often throw out the following outrageous idea. You already know all the teachings of all the saints and sages of all times and climes. And that's not just, I mean, if you really think of it, I mean, that's kind of, you know, nice and so la-di-da, boopy-doop, and etc., but that's not the point. I mean, if you really think about it, I mean, if you really grasp it sometime in some quiet manner, really feel the reality of it, you already know all the teachings of all the saints and sages of all times. Where is that knowledge within you? Where is, this is an interesting thing to think about. Where is that knowing? Where is that place of knowing? Where is the knowledge that we have to bring forth? Where is the power? Where is the answer that we have to bring forth? It is not, we could say, you know, it's within the unconscious, which is a nice, you know, it's not just a New Age term, it's old as the hills. But the point is, if we remind ourselves, the knowledge that is needed to do anything is unconscious. We don't need, somehow or other, that knowledge is brought forth, and we don't need to be able to explain it. We don't even need to be able to know it consciously.